And so I took my video down. Yeah, Fuad is right. I should have found out his side of the stories. If you watch Fuad's story, you're going to think Misha's nuts. If you watch Misha's story, you're going to think Fuad's nuts. And if you watch my story, you're going to think they're both doing things that they probably shouldn't be doing, that they provoke the situation. That's it. You're not going to think anyone's nuts. Just me for recording this video at 1:30 in the morning, and I should be having sexy time. Coach Greg, in today's video, I'm going to explain why I took the Fuad Abiyad throat smash video down, what actually took place, and so let's get right into it. In the original video, I talked to Misha, who explained exactly what happened. We've spoken yet again, and I've also had the chance to talk to Fuad. Fuad says, "Why didn't you talk to me in the first place? Why didn't you get the full story?" Well, why do you think? How many of you think that me and Fuad are on good terms? Good enough terms that I'm going to call him at 12:30 in the morning upon getting the news and recording this video. And so Coach Greg, he works 24/7. And so while all this was happening, my multiple editors are recording the video. After watching my video, Fuad then goes on Instagram and says what really happened. And so I'm going to be responding to what Fuad said transpired, Misha says transpired, and I'm assuming that what actually has transpired is somewhere in the middle. Just a quick backstory. In the original video, Misha said that Fuad Abiyad was on a phone call with him for approximately 10 minutes and told him to come over. We don't know if it was for a talk, for a fight. We don't know anything. But what we do know is that Fuad invited him to come on over to his house. My personal opinion is, if you think that the guy is a psychopath, of which Fuad is saying, if you think that the guy is harassing your wife, which Fuad is saying, and if you're sending emails to someone pretending to be a dead person in that person's life, then you don't invite that person to your house. The invitation, to me, it seems asinine. And if it's a former best friend, someone who stood at your wedding, and you're no longer friends, you don't engage with that person. The first rule of thumbs is you don't perk around and find out. And so if both of these men who are in their 40s would act like actual grown-ass adults, none of this would have happened. But let's listen to Fuad's side of the story first, because in the first video, I listened to Misha's side of the story. And so on his stories, I can see, if you harass a man's wife and him for years, and then show up to his house with a truck full of guys at night, he has every right to protect his wife, home, and himself by any means necessary. Based on that, raise your hand if you think that Fuad should not have gone out there with a baseball bat to defend him and his family. There's 0 hands being raised. Every single person out there who's not an absolute moron knows that if a truck full of guys shows up to your house, and they've been threatening you for years, doing all these ridiculous things, he has every right to defend himself. And to only have a bat, what's wrong with you, Fuad? A truck full of guys, you better have a machine gun. What is going on right now? And so if a truck full of guys show up to my house and I'm protecting my family, I'm not going outside. I'm certainly not inviting my wife outside, my wife's brother outside, to hang out with these intruders who are sociopaths who are there to destroy me. I'm closing the doors, locking them, calling the police immediately.
Status arrested.
And so are we clear now? Am I saying Fuad's at fault? My opinion is Misha was redonkulous to show up in the first place. This is stupid. Why are we going to people's houses to record altercations? Let's avoid them in the first place. In the original video, people are quick to respond. Coach Greg, it's such a bad take. You defended Misha. I defended both of these men. Both of them equally. Who threw the first punch? It was Fuad. And what did I say? I said he had every right to do it. Misha walked up to him, hands behind his back, aka Jeff Nippert style, but he got right up into his face 6 inches from him. And so Fuad punched him back. Bravo! He had the right to do that. He was in his space. He didn't know what was behind his back. And so how am I not being impartial? I believe that is a fair rendition of what happened. And upon doing that in the original video, Fuad then made fun of this man. You're a loser. No one likes you, whatever. And he said, well, throw away the bat and we'll find out. Fuad throws the bat away and they had a fight. And what did I say about that? If two grown-ass adults want to fight and they agree to it, by all means. Now, am I a fan of them doing this? No. I think they should have both walked away. But no, they wanted to fight, and so they fought. And they both later end up at the hospital. It's over. The cops dealt with it. They saw the video. They decided no one's pressing charges. It's a consensual fight by true grown-ass adults. Fuad eventually got rid of the bat, and they fought it out. It's over. And so how is my video bad? This is just embarrassing, bro. Make sure you have all the facts before making a video slandering someone. I watched a video in 4K. Reality. I didn't alter the video. And I did a play on what I watched. How is any of that false? Nothing that I said was a lie. Nothing was false. On the other hand, in Fuad's video, I'm reading a truck full of guys showed up to his door and he defended himself. There was Misha and that cocky coach with a video camera. If somebody's slandering someone, they need to be lying and saying false facts. And so, for example, if I said Misha showed up to his house with a baseball bat and threatened him, then I would be lying. That would be slanderous. Can't do that. I did not slander. Now, you can like me, you can dislike me, you can take sides, but I am spitting facts, just the facts, and I'm doing so without bias. And so when Fuad reached out to me, this is what he says. You should be ashamed of yourself, Greg. I know you had the chance to talk to me before putting out that video. Your hatred for me clouded your judgment, and instead of calling out the bully, you defended him. I don't hate Fuad. Fuad hates me. I don't hate Mike Israetel. Mike Israetel hates me. Are we getting a pattern? It's insane to me you can just put something out and spin it however you want without having any integrity to check out your story. The last encounter with Fuad was when he took one of my videos, spliced it up to make it look like I was supporting people buying Mike Van Wyck's clothing line. My opinion, I know Mike. He's a great guy. He's such a nice person. I'm still buying it. I didn't sue him. I took it on the chin. But do you think I'm actually friends with Fuad that I should contact him after that? At 12:30 in the morning. Hey, Fuad, I just got off the phone with Misha. I know it's 12:30 a.m. I'm going to record a video. What's your side of the story? Oh, by the way, it's Coach Greg, the guy that you hate. Do you really think if a story broke out on Mike Israetel, I'm calling him up? Hey, Mike Israetel, it's Coach Greg. I'll make a video on you. Heard you choke slam Jeff Nippert.
Thank you, Greg.
He wouldn't take my call. Why would I assume that I have to talk to him? At 12:30 in the freaking morning. I know nothing about these accusations of somebody pretending to be somebody's dead brother. But that's besides the point. I personally don't think you should invite trouble to your door. And so there are, in fact, men who are threatening me right now for making this video. Cool. That's the type of person you are. That's the type of person you are. I don't deal with it. But notice, I don't invite them to my house. And if you do have the stupidity to do so, when they show up at your door, keep your wife and kids in the house and lock the door. And don't bring them out where they could do something you're not sure of. Especially if you're saying that they're a psychopath, that they're mentally unstable. How do you know they're not there to do something and who knows what? This could have been far worse. Ha, Fuad Abiad Kirking rocks. Talk shit to a man's wife and roll up to his house at night with two dudes. He's lucky he didn't get the bullet he deserved. There was only one man with him. Now, I'm not saying the other man should have been there. I don't think he should have been there. I'm not on his side for that. Why are we showing up with a camera? Why are we doing this at night? All great points. Fuad says, show up and find out. He shouldn't have showed up. He should have said, you know what? We used to be best friends. We're not friends anymore. I'm going my separate ways. And so I took my video down. Yeah, Fuad is right. I should have found out his side of the stories. Now, in my defense, Fuad hates me. This is a very difficult conversation to have. And so just think of it. What are the odds? Maybe 1 in a quintillion that this guy's going to pretend to be some guy's dead wife writing them from the grave. And that sparked all of this. Are there odds to this? I thought this seems to be the story. This guy saying Fuad invited to his house. They were going to talk, fight, whatever. He showed up and he had a bat. Last time I checked, when people invite somebody over, there's no bat involved. I'm working hard, guys. Sometimes I make mistakes, but I'm doing my best. I'm just a chill guy trying to report the news. And so this is what's sad about this world. This is just going to keep getting worse. And so this is what this person says. Fouad Abiad and Mike Van Wyck really showing you how men stand on business. How is that a real man? A real man diffuses the problem without putting the rest of his family in danger. Now, we all have the right to do things the way we want. I'm not saying I'm right. I'm just saying I would do it different. And my personal opinion is if all real men just suddenly invited everyone to their house to settle it with baseball bats, then the world would be a pretty shitty place. I'm not about that life. Don't be the bigger person, be the bigger problem. Fuad Abiad is saying this guy's a sociopath, a psychopath, a crazy person. He's deranged. What if this is poking the bear one too many times? What if he then decides, I've had enough? Everyone go watch Fouad Abiad defend his wife and his house just like any real man would in this situation. Go watch all his stories. I'm telling you, a real man can swallow his pride, lock the doors, and call the police. If all the real men get out there, some real men are going to die. That's just what's going to happen. We did have a 10-minute fold call in which he said and did all the same things he's been doing for years. And yes, I told him to come over if he's got a problem. I'm simply a reporter, reporting the news. Do I know if Misha is telling the truth? Do I know if Fuad is telling the truth? There was never going to be a conversation. He is lying to you and you're buying it. Why are we picking up the phone of a psychopath that you don't want to talk to? Are we on the same page now? And so I said, how do you know that he's actually this guy in the messages? His response is, I know he is. I don't want you to do anything. Don't make a video for me. And so is he? Isn't he? I don't know. I have no proof of anything. Just like if I make a natty or not on someone, I say, I think they're not natty because there's more than a 50% chance that they're not natty. I don't have proof. I'm guessing. I'm saying I think so. If I had to bet on it, I would bet on it. In this situation, I don't know who's telling the truth. How could I? And he says, you don't report the news. You report your opinion. You're not a journalist. Read your comments and then tell me what people think. Don't tell them why I did what I did. You posted a story with no context. Of course, they're going to think I'm nuts. And so if you watch Fuad's story, you're going to think Misha's nuts. If you watch Misha's story, you're going to think Fuad's nuts. And if you watch my story, you're going to think they're both doing things that they probably shouldn't be doing, that they provoked the situation. That's it. You're not going to think anyone's nuts. Just me for recording this video at 1:30 in the morning, and I should be having sexy time with Mepstagram. I got a letter Greg my Doucette. Subscribe, click the bell button, comment to boost the algorithm. It's the first time she's laughed in this video. Normally my videos are fun. This wasn't the best video to make, but it's done. And of course, you all know if Misha had showed up to Fuad's house with my freaking cookbook, none of this would have ended like this. They would have went inside together, baked some freaking French toast, and settled it like real men over a hefty meal of protein with turkesterone for some gains. And until next time, we're out.